This is commentary by Kihwa on the second chapter of the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment regarding Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. The word Samanta means universally extending. Bhadra means great virtue. The word Samantabhadra means to extend great compassion such that no type of sentient being is not improved, and to practice myriads of practices such that no virtue is not perfected. Why does Samantabhadra ask the Buddha another question after Manjushri? Manjushri emphasizes the aspect of faith, while Samantabhadra emphasizes the aspect of practice. Since Manjushri emphasizes the aspect of faith, he asks the Buddha to reveal the Dharma practice of the causal stage, first causing everyone to awaken pure, perfect enlightenment. Since Samantabhadra emphasizes the aspect of practice, he asks the Buddha to teach the stages of practice and make everyone begin their practice relying on their awakening. In a lamp, oil and flame are both necessary. In a person, eyes and legs both help each other. If the flame lacks oil, it will certainly go out. If legs cannot be guided by eyes, one's advance will certainly be halted. The flame, depending on the oil, gets brighter without going out. The legs, depending on the eyes, can further advance without having to stop. The relationship of practice to understanding is just like that of oil and flame. The relationship of understanding to practice is just like that of eyes to the legs. An understanding that does not have practice is empty. A practice that does not have understanding will be obstructed. Therefore, if you desire to practice, you must first activate your understanding. If you have activated your understanding, then you must begin to practice. It is for this reason that Manjushri first awakens pure, perfect enlightenment. Samantabhadra then will cause the listeners to rely on their awakening and begin to practice. Kihwa's verse goes like this: right understanding already accomplished, you must begin to practice. Therefore, Samantabhadra asks for the method. When freedom from illusion is complete, there is nothing from which to separate. That from which one cannot separate is the true constant. The myriad practices of the Bodhisattva depend upon body and mind. In the realization of the myriad practices, wisdom is the cutting edge. But the sutra has already said, this awareness is just like empty space. Yet, since the knowledge that is like empty space is none other than the appearance of sky flowers. This being the case, then the wisdom that guides practice is illusory and not real. Again, the sutra has said, know that these are sky flowers, which is the same as knowing that there is no transmigration, and that there is no body or mind to undergo life and death. This being the case, the realm of practice is also illusory and not real. Yet the fact that practice leads to Buddhahood is well established, so how can we say practice is illusory? If you say that practice is illusory and fundamentally lacks any principle, then the present sentient beings will remain in illusion forever, without ever completely realizing the illusory realm, and their falsely conceptualizing floating mind will haphazardly arise and cease. If they do not remedy their illusory conceptualization, how can they be liberated? Having posed these questions, Samantabhadra makes a request that we may paraphrase by saying, quote, if we desire to reach Buddhahood, we must first be freed from false conceptualization. If we desire to be free from false conceptualization, we must provisionally practice. If it is necessary to practice, we must know the stages. The Buddha has already revealed the perfectly enlightened pure realm, universally causing us to awaken and enter, and has made practice the basis. I hope that he will also teach the stages of practice to cause the multitude at this assembly, as well as all the sentient beings of the degenerate age, to be free from false conceptualization and be able to reach realization. Close quote. Mueller, the translator of this commentary, says, "Provisional explanation, or expedient means, is a vitally important aspect of the Buddhist teaching and is directly related to the concept of two truths. The real or absolute Buddhist teaching is the immediate apprehension of the true nature of existence, which has no duality, is perfect in itself, and inconceivable. The content of the chapter of Manjushri is emblematic of this kind of teaching. But the fact is, as Samantabhadra states here, that almost all sentient beings are completely bound in their illusory perceptions and conceptions, and when they hear the truth, it goes over their heads and makes no sense. Therefore the Buddha, adapting to the various capacities of his followers, provisionally gives them a teaching that they can grasp, which includes physical and mental techniques that purify body and mind. But since these methods are provisional, and practitioners are apt to hold them as reality, in this sutra and others like it, the Buddha will often undermine the substantiality of the provisional teaching soon after giving it." The sutra itself closes the second chapter with a gatha, or verse. Then the world-honored one, wanting to restate the gist of this, spoke a verse. He said, "Samantabhadra, you should know, the beginningless illusory ignorance of all sentient beings is all created from the perfectly enlightened mind of all Tathagatas. It is just like the sky flowers that appear in relation to the sky. Though the sky flowers vanish, the sky has never changed. Illusion is born from enlightenment. In the cessation of illusion, enlightenment remains perfectly complete. This is because the enlightened mind is changeless. If these bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age always appropriately separate from illusion, they will completely free themselves from it. Like the flame that springs from wood, the wood is consumed and the flame again disappears. If you are enlightened, then there are no stages of practice, nor is there such a thing as expedient means." And Kihwa gives this commentary to close out his commentary on the chapter. He says, "Illusion arises from enlightenment, like the flowers that appear in the sky. This is the aspect of creating characteristics because of confusion regarding reality. When illusion ceases, the nature of enlightenment is self-so. When the flowers vanish, the nature of the sky remains as it always was. This is the aspect of going against the flow and returning to one's nature. The Buddha has taught these two aspects to encourage sentient beings to separate themselves from illusion. Thus, the culmination of both of these teachings, the disclosure of the partial and going against the flow, is the encouragement to separate from illusion. Yet it is also said, 'In separating from illusion there are differences of gradual and sudden.' Gradual is like the fire coming from the wood, and the wood disappearing because of the fire. The wood and the fire both vanish, leaving the sky remaining. Although people of dull faculties are able to separate from illusion, they are not able to avoid again producing discriminations, and so they must repeatedly separate from illusion. Then they can return to perfect enlightenment. If you can separate from illusion and not again produce discriminations, then enlightenment will appear before you without any mental strain. The way that is used is, when you know illusion, you will immediately be free, without devising expedient means. Freedom from illusion is itself enlightenment, and there are no stages. This is like cutting through a roll of thread. In one slice, all threads are cut. This is called sudden. It is used by those of sharp faculties.